Hi, I'm Jill Korach of Miami University's Project Dragonfly, and here we'll discuss engaging communities. In the broader field of biology and ecology, we tend to see value placed on empiricism and objectivism. So here we're aiming for the largest sample sizes that can enable us to create generalizable claims. We're also looking to incorporate unbiased methodologies. So this can cause tension around the idea of engaging communities because as we try to go deeper with communities, integrating what might be viewed as more subjective, human, or social methods or components, we might be going directly against the ideas of empiricism and objectivism. So how can we shift this paradigm in our field? How can we engage authentically with communities and appropriate stakeholders while also serving as professionals in the field of biology? How can we establish research questions and the focus of our project work that can benefit us in addition as the researcher to the local community? So we're not the only ones who are benefiting as the researcher involved in this work. And here we want to value that knowledge base. So we want to look at a variety of methods that can be incorporated to create that overall understanding. So just as a quick example, this could include, if we were looking at, say, a forest community, it might include both line transects as a way to be able to gather information on forest biodiversity, but we could couple this with local oral histories, discussing with local community members of the area to gain a richer understanding of that habitat in that place. So even here in this quick example, we can see that we can use both ecological and social method engagement to gather information and better understand ecological communities, biological communities. So what can authentic community engagement really look like? Here, I'd like to share some approaches that could shape your work, and at the end of this video, share some key authors that could help inform any future research that you might do on this topic. So when we're approaching communities, and this might be to support a pre-existing project, or this could be to collaborate on a new project. We want to keep several things in mind. The first really is, what is the community? So we want to define what the community is and really think as broadly as possible here. So a community can be one person, it can be your family and friends, a broader village, town, or city. It can include adults, youth, traditionally underrepresented communities. It might be a particular group of community members, like all of those who live near train stations, or it could be all of the above. So really defining that community first is crucial. Secondly, remembering that research and working on research and this type of work is inherently a social practice. So anytime we're working with social or ecological issues, we will be working with others. And really, academia and research in general is a social practice. So if we keep this in mind, we're remembering that we're trying to include people at all levels of society as a part of the work that we do. That our engagement involves individuals is also important to consider. We're inviting others to share their knowledge, and we're also listening to each person. So by going through the exchange of listening and receiving information as well as sharing knowledge that we have, we're helping to really better understand the complexity of the conservation or ecological issues at hand. So in our Project Dragonfly coursework, we're challenging participants to really create as well as transmit knowledge. So within our programs, we look for our students to promote authentic dialogue at all levels of society. So are they working with youth, other adults, underrepresented communities, and how can they inspire others to do that same type of work? So that's just one example of how to support engagement as we think about it as a collective of individuals, not just one community and getting a few opinions around that and then deciding that that's the overall community feel. So the next idea is really to truly understand the local needs of those in the community. So what are the actual needs of the place, not just the outside ideas that we came in with as researchers, but what are the really specific local needs and how does that align with the needs of the outside researchers? So if we can get that under control and kind of understood, we can move forward in a more comprehensive way as we discuss this with local communities. So really, engagement in these different types of methods can take on many different approaches. We might want to think about it as place-based. We might be multifaceted in our approaches. We're thinking about many different ways to engage. Can you make your community engagement long-standing? Can you create and revisit stakeholder opinions so that as you create these relationships, you're able to kind of continue to go back and not just make it a one-time connection for a course or for a paper that you're writing? Can this engagement continue throughout your undergraduate or graduate studies, or even in your professional realms? And really lastly, the idea of sharing the message. So we put together findings, we have results and conclusions from the work that we've done together. In what ways will we share this information? So obviously when you're in school, you're thinking about this in writing, whether that's through report writing or through publications that are put out into academic realms. But there's also a commitment to sharing back with local community members, and that might be in other ways through presentations or other community discussions, because you want to think of the community as sort of the audience of the product, so they're receiving that information, but they're also the co-creator of that knowledge, and it's important to acknowledge that as a part of this process. So our advice to you is to explore and immerse yourself in the literature, look into biology and ecology, how engaging communities can really play a role in that work. Take time to understand those tensions between empiricism and community engagement, where those line up, where they don't, and find that place in the field that you're best suited for. So here at the end of the video are some additional notes on authors that can inform future research on this topic. Good luck!